Hello, Amber.
Hello, Jen, and our fellow Morley Gray babes. I'm so excited to, just hang out with you, Jen, and to talk about books. Today on the docket, we are going to be doing a book review of Sweetest Revenge by Aimee Monroe. This is book one in the Black Silk Auction series.
Welcome to Morally Gray Babes. We're your hosts, Jen and Amber, two unapologetic book addicts diving deep into the steamiest reads, hottest book boyfriends, and those spicy moments that make you blush.
Amber here, and we're not just here to talk plot twists and character arcs. We're breaking down everything from our favorite quotes to the spice levels that really bring the heat.
Expect a lot of laughs, a little cussing, and some seriously hot takes. Whether we're gushing over fictional men or dishing out the truth on what books deserve the hype, nothing is off limits.
So buckle up, Buttercup, and get ready for real, raw, and totally unfiltered book talk. Because we're the book besties you didn't know you needed. So this comes like a spicy, forbidden auction romance between a girl out for revenge and her father's enemy, who happens to be one of the wealthiest men in the world. He has like all this money and she's up for sale, but once they're back together, can they resist that pull they still have after one night all those years ago? So it's 1 month, $2 million?
Yep.
1 month, $2 million, and then she's all his, right?
For the whole month.
She's the enemy's daughter, the one who ruined his life, and now she's also there for revenge. And this is a full-length, spicy, standalone romance set in this interconnected series, Black Silk Auction. And so I chose this book for Jen mainly because I felt like we were getting into this book slump. We had both.
No, we were.
Yeah.
You didn't feel like we were getting in a book slump. We were in a book slump.
We were.
Where every book was just not quite there, you know?
Dude. And so nothing was really filling that itch. And I think a lot of it had to do with just things that were happening in both of our separate personal lives. And we just needed something. And I was like, we can do this dark fantasy or we can do this billionaire. And I was reading it to Jen. I was like, this is set up for you because we're going to break it down. Billionaire, workplace romance, forbidden romance, age gap, right? There was so much of Jen's cravings that.
Yes. I love girl. Good thing the video is not on right now. Sorry, just for you to know, behind the scenes, I had muted my microphone. I muted my microphone, and then I start talking, and she's like shaking her head. Like, we're going to be starting video next week, so you'll be thoroughly entertained on future episodes. But I love me a billionaire. I love a revenge. I love enemies to lovers. I love all of it. And this book I liked.
Good. So for me, like I devoured this book like the Spice Gremlin I unapologetically am, because let's just say Warren freaking King, the book boyfriend in this series, like that man has no business being this lethal and this delicious. I was feral by chapter 3, and that was for the contract clause that banned other men from touching her. So this is a girl out for revenge. Her dead dad's billionaire bestie turned enemy, an auction, 1 month, millions on the table, zero emotional survival.
And it was just to be really clear, it's a sex club auction. They're auctioning off themselves. Yes. So it's not like some art auction, just to be very clear.
Yeah, it's a women's body auction. And they don't have to be pristine, right? But it's all like hush hush. You don't know who it is. The girls wear masks the first night for the introduction. And then if they get a lot of interest and they actually get to go be on stage and then revealed who they are. Her family kind of reminded me of like Schitt's Creek a little bit. just like
You know,
what
you're
happened?
totally right in terms of losing money.
Losing everything. Like,
Yes.
and she was like,
Yes.
well, she wasn't one of the children, but like she was the daughter who was like a spoiled princess who like lost everything because of what her dad did. And so that's only similarities. But in my mind, that's like where I was pitching it when it started. So this was my first Aimee Monroe book.
Correct.
And
Me
I
too.
kind of want to dive into the entire Black Silk auction series.
Me too.
So I was like, give me all the morally gray, possessive, pleasure doms, dirty talking men. I will be seated, hydrated, and spiritually unwell. So Addison came in with sass, secrets, and one hell of a plan. Like, I love when there is a female main character, the heroine, who is just who's been through some shit but is able to stand up, who's strong and she has a backbone and she's like determined. I don't like it whenever they are meek and meager and like, oh, I can't do anything for myself. Like, Addison was take charge.
Yeah. And I will say that you and I both really love badass female characters.
Yes.
That could be kicking ass badass, you know,
Emotionally badass. Like,
yeah. This girl who was raised with anything she wanted at any time she wanted it, anywhere she wanted it, and lost completely everything and is now working two sort of menial jobs to make ends meet. Her mother, not to give it away, her mother's in the hospital and there's a huge bill.
But they don't say how long she's been in the hospital, and that kind of irritated me.
It sounded like my impression from reading it was like 1 to 2 years in a coma. I don't know. That's what
because I was thinking it was like only a couple of months.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because whenever they said like the hospital bill, I was like, okay, so she's been in there like a month. Like,
and where is this again? Because like if it was a month in California, it would be like $1 million to 2
I thought it was like, see, so there is a lot of, I felt like a lot of plot holes in that aspect. Like, how long was the mom in there? They said what happened, but it was like later in the story.
It had been like 8 years since her encounter with this guy.
No,
right?
She met him before. See, there's a lot.
No. I meant the first encounter in her dad's office.
Nope.
Okay. See, let's just be clear. If both Amber and I have different thoughts or are confused,
then there's plot.
Then I imagine a lot of people are confused.
Yeah. Well, I did see whenever I was looking it up on Amazon or Kindle or somewhere, I saw how it was. There's like a little novella, like a very short couple, like I think it said like 54 pages or something of their story to show you more about how because they had a history.
Maybe there's been a lot of confusion.
Yeah, because there is a history and she knew him before that incident. So anyway, I felt like there was a lot of plot holes, not plot holes because that means
questions.
I felt like there was a lot of information that was left out from the story
or wasn't clear enough for everyone to understand it. Like it was too nuanced.
Like, when did they actually meet? How long were they actually in each other's lives? When did the mom get injured? How long has she been in there? Like, because it says like why she got injured and like why that happened to her, but it didn't say when. Like,
and we're not diving into all of those details.
I don't want to tell you the spoilers.
And all of that like made sense throughout the whole book. I think the irks for me was all timing. Like I needed more details on the timing to be not confused.
I thought the story was good. I mean, but
the idea was
asking
good.
Questions and it takes me out of the story. That's when I get irked. And this had that.
Yeah. Like how many times that's how I judge confusion. How many times did you have to go back? Like how many times did you, like I went back on 4 or 5 occasions going, wait, that doesn't make sense. And then have to go back to several chapters to like try to reread timing. That tells me it's a problem.
I got really confused with the characters in the book.
Me too. There's a lot.
Well, here's the thing.
And some information and then more information later on. Like it was confusing. Like the glasses guy.
Yeah. Who in the fuck is he? I still don't know. I mean, is that Dominic?
Which I get it's a trilogy.
I feel like that's Tristan, right?
And now I get that it's a trilogy. So I always give,
No,
not
but
putting
their
out all
story
the
ends.
information.
Their story
But
ends.
this is supposed to be standalones,
Yeah, it's
correct?
interconnected. So here's my thought. What I had to keep going back because I got the men confused. And it was like Tristan showed up. I'm like, okay, Tristan's a lawyer. But then it didn't describe him until like a couple of chapters later. And then just
I thought it was a
stood
different
there and
person.
he was
Yeah.
wearing glasses. Tristan, I'm like, okay, so Tristan has glasses. Okay, well, who's this other guy that wears glasses? Who's this guy in the suit? And then I had to keep going back. So
that looks familiar. They kept saying through the book. She was like, he looks familiar, but I can't place him. I can't place. And I still don't remember.
that's Tristan.
He's the one who visited the house.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. But yeah, that was all confusing to me through the book.
The whole thing. And so I actually had to put a tab on when he started talking about the guys, like the first couple of chapters.
So that you could go back easier.
So I could go back. Oh my God, it's so cool. And so that's when I'm like, and I say this because like we read a lot of fantasy with a lot of characters, a lot of word building. We read a lot of omega verses or reverse harems when there's multiple people, right? We've read one where there was a pack of like 8 and I didn't get confused.
I mean, I did in the beginning, but they were so thorough in their descriptions that you weren't confused once they were introduced.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? I feel like they weren't all, and I get this. Like if I was talking to the author, I get that she's revealing the story slowly.
Yeah,
like I get that whole point, but it wasn't clear enough. I think because she knew the whole story.
Yeah. It was
I just don't. So if you're going to be revealing something as an author, you make sure you give enough information that people aren't confused and still thinking of confusion instead of reading the book.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to get back. Warren, for me, the man didn't flinch. He shut down the whole, like whenever he sees her at the auction and he knows it's her, he like shuts it down. He shuts it down. He claims her like the predator he is. It was like contract signed, game on, daddy activated. Love that. So even though there were a few plot holes that took me out of the book, no doubt, right? The whole 2 jobs going down, they magically took off a whole month without notifying anyone, like really. And then what she even think she didn't have like a game plan going back. Like it was just like, it was all said like, oh, I got this contract 1 month.
And she had been planning this revenge for years, it sounds like.
Well, I don't even think, yeah, and that's the thing. Well, plot hole right there, because I was confused because I was like, how long has she been planning that? Because I didn't think she planned revenge for him. I think I didn't think she planned the auction until she got so desperate, and then she's like, oh, I need to do this auction, and then but then she was like, I knew he was going to bid on me. I'm like, well, yeah, how long have you been planning this child?
And he knew that she wanted him to bid on her, and still bid on her because he's obsessed, which again we love.
But he didn't know he was obsessed. He just thought.
Well, no, he said he'd been comparing every woman to him, and he'd been celibate since her. Yes, or not dating since
that when at the time of the auction, he didn't say that. He didn't know he was obsessed at the time of the auction.
I know, you're right.
So it was like later down. It's like weird. It's weird.
And Amber and I do not have differing. I mean, we have differing views on books, but when we read a book, she'll have an irk, and maybe it's not an irk to me, or I'll have an irk, and maybe it's not an irk to her. But we're both confused. And I just want to say right now, if you're going to like stop listening to this and choose not to read this book,
it's actually a good book.
The story's good.
The story's good.
So don't let it stop you, is my point.
Like, and so in the book, there's also like mommy issues. Like, we're not even going to bring up that, which was traumatizing enough. But the trope buffet, daddy's best friend, like we said, age gap. I had to do the math because I was like, I think it's 25 years. Because like, because you figure it out, she's like, I think when they meet up the first time, she's 19, and then it's like so many years later. So I'm like, okay, so she's 27 because it's 8 years later.
Yep.
And then he's like, and I'm 52, and I'm like, 1, 2, carry the 1. And so
it's a lot.
So it's 25
year
age gap. He's a billionaire, obviously. There's some office romance happening. happened.
It was a
page
one-time
one.
thing. It wasn't like a
No,
it wasn't like a
no,
she
no. You're gonna be confused again.
what?
So page one obviously starts off office romance.
Yes.
Page one, first word, office.
But she wasn't necessarily working.
She was working for her dad.
Yes, but she was in her dad's office in that first scene.
Yes.
That's why she was like, hurry up, because my dad could come back at any
Yes.
second.
So office
Yeah.
romance, but then whenever he hired her, she worked in his office. He set the desk next to her.
But that was after that was that 1 month.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I thought you were talking before that.
No.
This was like a one-time thing. Then he purchased her and has her for a month in his office. Yes, that I get.
Okay. Strong enemies to lovers. Strong. Obviously.
Like you feel for her and you feel for him. I feel more for her, but you can also understand where
I
he's
felt
coming
for him.
from.
I was like,
yeah, I know. Because, well, and we're not giving anything away, but I could see both sides of their hatred, and I did not understand how they were going to be together.
I thought, for me, like, I could see why she got mad at him, right? Because she didn't see the full picture. I could see how he got mad at her because she didn't see the full picture. I thought if they would have just sat down and had
Here we go again.
Had a big conversation like fucking adults.
This is the miscommunication that both Amber and I cannot stand.
I can't stand it in real life. And like when people like pussyfoot around conversations.
Just tell me what's going on. Don't be nice about it. Just deliver the information and we'll
honest,
go from there.
Be brutally honest. I don't care.
Yes.
I'd rather you say it. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she used to say something all the time. And she's like, the worst thing I can, I'll say to you, I'll say to your face. And I love that about her. Right? Because it's like, you knew where you stood. And I wish more people were like that. And yes, it will hurt people, especially the people that only got participation awards. It will hurt you to hear the brutal truth. It'll hurt me to hear it too. But
participation
at
awards.
least you know where you stand with the people you love, right? Like
that's our family. We're brutally honest, and it is very uncomfortable sometimes, but we never doubt because we know they would come to us. It's not going to behind their back and chatting with everyone else in the family. Like that's not
freaking.
In fact, if my kids argue with anyone else in the family, they're not going to talk about it to other people. They're going to talk about it to your face.
Okay, so that was one of the things. I felt like yes, they're both of their thoughts for revenge were warranted because they couldn't see the whole picture. Had they talked,
it would have saved 8 years of frustration.
So fucking annoying. Anyway, it was the full body up for sale. Forbidden. Was it forbidden? Like some people say it's forbidden because it's the dad's best friend, but at the same time,
but that was such a tiny piece of it that I disagree with that.
And then the parent died, so I'm like, is it really forbidden? No.
Well, it's kind of forbidden in that she hates him. So like she doesn't want to like throughout the book, she like is enticed by him and like wants him, but like doesn't want him. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that might be a little bit of the forbidden, but I guess normally forbidden is like a bad. I totally agree with you, but you know, you can swing it anyway.
I thought this was spicy AF.
Yup.
I thought there was a lot of possessive male energy. I loved it. I loved it. There were just a couple of top tiered lines that wrecked me. I just have 3. I didn't really highlight a lot in this book.
Which tells you something. Same with me.
Yeah. But there was one that says, I just loved it. He goes, there's no amount of money I wouldn't spend to keep Addison Mercer by my side.
Yes. He loves some obsession in our morally gray books.
And then he says, you begged for me so sweetly before. Let me hear it now.
He was filthy.
He was.
He wasn't dirty filthy, but he was taking the lead filthy.
So I will say that, and I told Jen this, so I'll mention briefly. Oh God, it's so bad. But not this book. After this book, I read another book and I reached out to Jen. I was like, look, I'm reading this one. but the spice scenes make me cringe. Like it is so poorly
The
done.
words are bad. It's gross.
I was like, it's poorly done. The words make me cringe with
We're not going to be mentioning this book
no,
on an episode,
but it's like
FYI.
I don't even want to say the words because don't call it a mound. Don't call it a honey. Don't call it a honeypot, okay? Freaking no. I just want to be like whenever your kids go, like whenever somebody says something, you just want to tap them and be like, no.
Knock it off.
That's what I want to do to
Don't say that.
yeah. So this book, I thought that the spy scenes were well done.
Oh, very well done. I love me a build sexual tension type book, and this had plenty of it. So if that's something that you love in a book, you'll love this book.
Yeah. So the things I said about this book, if you love it, if you love slow burn that combusts into chaos, one bed tension so thick you'll scream, a man who signs her into submission, spite, lust, contracts, carnal politics, like this is your sign, like to put this book to your TBR.
And the female character was very confident in her body, very confident in what she had to offer. And that's really attractive to read, to read about a woman who is comfortable enough within herself to do something like this because she wants to take care of her bills and like have a life. And she did it fully in the knowledge of exactly what was happening. Like,
can I ask you a question though? What color is her hair?
Thought it was red. No?
Shit.
Blonde. I'm getting books confused right now.
Oh my God. Because I was like,
sorry. I got books confused. It was red in one of the other books that we just read. Sorry.
No, I'm just asking because I was like, oh my God, this is why. Like I was confused because I thought she was brunette. Wait, one second. And then when I was reading it, like I guess my mind put her as brunette, and then it said somebody was like, "Oh, she's at the hospital," and they're like, "Oh, she's her. She doesn't look rich. Look at those roots." And I was like, "Oh, maybe she's blonde with dark roots." But I guess she's blonde.
She is blonde, and she is blonde just because I looked it up right now. Okay. Full disclosure, a little bit more petite and whatever. She is blonde.
Okay.
But her mom is too, which makes sense. That's her mom. So sometimes moms and daughters have the same color hair. So that's why I got confused also in the beginning, because they did describe her mom with her blonde hair carefully braided when she was in the hospital bed.
Yeah, they did her nails. Yeah. They talked about her nails, the mom's nails.
Yeah.
But I thought this was like sweet, spicy, sinfully unhinged, just like we like it. And
oh, yes.
I think that one of the friends, Warren King's friends, Maxwell, I think it's his book next, him and Piper. So
yeah, I cannot wait to dive into those books. I mean, we have a very large, robust TBR, but I will be excited to read those in between other books.
Yeah, I think this is a series that we'll continue to read. It was really good. It's just like there was a lot of things I got confused on. I got really confused on the male characters. I got confused on like timelines.
Big confusion.
Yeah.
Age, those types of things.
And there was huge miscommunication. I will say I got like 80% into the book. And I reached out to Jen because she had already finished.
The book is only 254 pages. And I feel like either they edited down some parts thinking that what was left was enough to clue us in. And I feel like it just wasn't, because it's a pretty short, 253 is a pretty short book in terms of what we typically read. Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe editing is the reason, not the author, but editing might be the reason.
I will say that when I reached out to you at that 80% mark, I was like, Jen, I feel like it's building to this third act breakup. Like, I don't know if I can do it. And you were like, it's not bad. And so I didn't think it was at all a third act breakup. I thought it was just like a continuation of the story. And it
was an explanation of everything that we had questions on in the whole book. So, yeah.
So I felt like there was a lot of questions answered. So if you're looking for something that is spicy, true enemies to lovers, age gap,
billionaire romance.
Thank you very much. With a happy ever after and no third act breakup, this may be for you.
Yeah, this is what we typically call a palate cleanser. We like read Omega verses, then we'll read a fantasy, then we'll read a professor or something or other. Like we'll read a bunch or alien or monster. Like we'll read a bunch of
Not
books,
read those
but
in a while.
but maybe that's what we need to have. But we like to read these types of really quick, and I say quick reads, even if it's 400 pages, if it's something that I can't put down and I just keep going till I'm done, that to me is a quick read. And those are great for in between. I don't have to have full attention to the book
Well, you don't
necessarily.
have to focus on like world building, right?
Yeah, although this book, I think maybe I needed more focus since I was confused. But so were
I
you, so
was
maybe not.
I was really
Right?
focused. I had tabs to like for help, and I don't know why. Everybody had a different name.
I know. Did like a nickname versus real name. The guy with the glasses, they called him the guy with the glasses, and then they called him something else, and then they told him his name. Like that was all confusing. So, what do you think the spice level was? I think I'm jaded.
I thought it was spicy, right? I thought it was spicy, but I thought it was well done spice and it was needed for the story. And then like he kind of edged her for a while. And she kind of
We
threw
like that.
herself at him. So honestly, I think it's like a 3.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say.
We're
If you were
jaded.
building it up, I don't think it's a 4.
We're jaded. That's it.
I don't think 2. I definitely think it's in the 3 range for
Yeah,
sure.
I would say it's a 3. If we were going against the mega verses, maybe 2, but I still say it's a 3 for normal books.
I agree. I rated it overall reading as a 4, but as we had started discussing the confusion and which again didn't hurt the story for me, it just put a question in my head that I couldn't let go.
Yeah.
I rated it to a 3. So just for clarification, I loved the story and I just want everyone to know that.
I liked the book. I feel like my scale should just be 1 through 4, right? And
yeah, you be 5. So
I rarely give a 5.
I think in 3 years you've given 1 5 in 3 years, and that's to the books that you already read.
Yeah. I can't help it. I don't know what's wrong with me, but
no, there's nothing wrong with you. And there's people that are going to be very much like you were not going to give a 5 unless it is something that you think about all the time, right? So this is perfect actually that we're different. Don't
Okay.
say yeah.
Well, nothing's wrong with me, but like I have a hard time giving 5s. And if I give a 4 or 3, that's not bad. Like to me, those are good books.
It's good. It's not going to be on this podcast if we're not recommending
it. So 4 means I loved it. 3
there.
means I liked it. I gave this like I don't want to give it a 4, but 3 seems a little low. So I would still say 3.
If we are going to do those half scales, it would definitely be a 3.5 for me.
Yes, I would say 3.5. But if we're not doing half scale, 3. Because like when I tried to post it on Goodreads, but I was like, oh, it's not a 4, it's not a 3. Like, but he won't let you do halves. And I was like,
I know.
I guess I'll just put a 3 because I was like, I'm just gonna put a 3, and we're just gonna.
That's what I had to do. Yeah. If we didn't have the confusion, it absolutely would have been a 4, 100%.
Yeah, the confusion, and then some answers around the mom, I think would have helped me because there was so much there. But I thought it was a very good book. Yeah. Like I said, if you are looking for age gap, office, auctions, billionaire, money on the table, political drama for like a quick like beach read, this would be good to read.
Oh,
make it you really hot under the sun.
For sure. Thanks for tuning in, babes. If you loved hanging out with us today, don't forget to check the show notes for all the juicy details and all the links.
You can also discover your next book boyfriend, maybe it's Warren King, with our epic quiz, which is linked in our show notes. And of course, follow us for more spicy reads, hot takes, and unfiltered fun. Until next time, stay morally gray.